Welcome to a special offering by Conversations with a Wounded Healer, the Burnt Out Practice Owner. This series will discuss the current state of group practice ownership, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll hear current and former practice owners' tales of glory and woe as we attempt to answer the ultimate question, why do we do this to ourselves? And we want to hear from you too. What have been your biggest moments of struggle or triumph? What are questions you want us to explore? I'm your host, Sarah Bueno. I owned and operated my practice, Head Heart Therapy, for 10 years before selling in 2023. Ownership was an equally grueling and rewarding experience for me, and I now spend my time helping current practice owners find balance for themselves. Join us between releases of Conversations with a Wounded Healer for this special series. Hello. Welcome to the Burnt Out Practice Owner. I am so excited to have you here today. And I'm very excited to share today's guest with you. Jessica Eubanks-Chavira used to be a consulting client of mine, and we did some good work together that you're going to hear about shortly. Before I get to that, I said in the intro, and I really mean it, I want to hear from you. So the best way to get in contact with me would be to reach out on Instagram at headheartbiztherapy or by email at sarah@headheartbiztherapy.com. If you like this podcast, I would love if you would share it with a friend or rate and review. You can do that on Apple Podcast or by going to ratethispodcast.com/woundedhealer. And if you're a practice owner that needs help, you can hire me. I work with group practice owners in a variety of business stages, and you don't have to be struggling. You can be thriving, but there's a lot of things that we can work on in the group practice arena. So I am here for it. And I'm here for Jessica Eubanks-Chavira. So Jessica and I work together, and it's funny. So when people come to me, the first question I ask them is, what do you want for yourself? And sometimes I get consulting clients that tell me that they want something that is very far from the life that you can have as a practice owner. And Jessica was one of those people. And we'll talk about in the episode, it's not a bad thing. You know, right at the beginning of our relationship, I said, I just want you to really think about what it is that you want. What do you want to actually do? What impact do you want to make on the world? And Jessica made a big pivot after asking herself and being really honest with herself about that question. You know, she talks about realizing she calls it a country club leader. I had given her a management assessment, and one of the quadrants that you can land in is country club leader, which is sort of like a laissez-faire, like hoping people are just going to do their jobs sort of thing. And she's like, and I don't want to change that. Like, I don't want to be a different person just because I'm a manager. And so she shifted what she wanted to do and realized how she can be more aligned with liberation and trying to shift out of white supremacy culture. So you're going to hear her talk a lot about her experience as a Black woman, you know, navigating what it means to be a Black woman and a business owner. I'm so proud of her for finding that connection to herself so that she could really create a space for liberation and feel that financial stability that she was really looking for. So I know you're going to love Jessica as well. So let me introduce you to her. Jessica Eubanks-Chavira is the owner and founder of Purple Couch Therapy. She's a mother, wife, goofy human, imperfect, rooted, system disruptor, norm shifter, and grief warrior. Jess uses historical, intergenerational, institutional, and interpersonal lenses when working with people. Basically, we know it's not all on you. There are many factors that play into our mental health, and you're doing your best to thrive despite everything. So please enjoy my conversation with Jessica Eubanks-Chavira. Are you a therapist stepping into a leadership role for the first time? Or maybe you've been in a leadership position for a while, but you're bumping up against new struggles. It's a transformative journey and one that can be deeply rewarding, but also filled with unique challenges. Many therapists find themselves in leadership positions because of their exceptional therapeutic skills. Yet leading, supervising, or managing others requires a whole new set of competencies not typically covered in graduate school. Our Authentic Leaders group is here to help you become the authentic and wholehearted leader you aspire to be. And we believe that the journey is best undertaken with the guidance of experienced mentors alongside fellow learners. The next cohort of Authentic Leaders will run November 2024 through June 2025, meeting once monthly on Fridays for 90 minutes. We'll also have some additional opportunities for connection and support along the way. Join me in this journey of self-discovery and leadership mastery, where you'll enhance your leadership skills and forge meaningful connections with fellow therapists committed to their own growth and the betterment of the therapy field. www.headheartbiztherapy.com/authentic-leaders-group. Jessica Eubanks-Chavira, welcome to the Burnt Out Practice Owner.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing a lot better than I was when we first met.
And that is so delightful for me to hear. And I can't wait to dig into all of that. But before we do that, do you want to tell folks who you are and what you do in your beautiful words?
Yes. My name is Jessica Eubanks-Chavira, and I am the CEO and founder of Purple Couch Therapy, and it's based here in Texas. I have a location in San Antonio, Texas, and it's a Purple House, and we specialize in Black woman medicine. And so all of our healing, our training is geared towards looking at the intersectional lens on how historically our clients have been impacted intergenerationally, how these systems impact them. And it's a sacred Black woman medicine space. Yeah.
Amazing. Did I ever tell you that was my dream, to have like my practice in a house, in a purple house one day? But we can't do that in Chicago.
No,
they won't let us because of zoning things. They're bullshit about zoning. But yeah, I mean, purple's my favorite color.
Yeah.
And so that was a dream of mine.
See,
this is why we vibe. Yeah.
Yes. I love your hair. Yeah. No, but that's why a lot of me and the people that I work with, that's how we connect. They're like, oh, I like the color purple. That's how they pick me as their therapist.
Yeah.
I'm fine
that's
with
amazing.
that.
Well, let's talk about how we first met and what we did together and how you have come to where you are now.
Yes. So we first met through, I'll shout out to Rael, my homie who introduced me to you. She was like, I know a good business coaching person. And I had already been following you on Instagram, and I liked how you connected the head heart with the business side, because that's what I was experiencing. A lot of more of the 80% of it, the heart work that needed to be done to really have the reality check of what I was doing in my business and how I was running the group practice. And so that's how we met. And I was like, basically, I want to say I had probably 4 therapists underneath me at the time.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And I just was not getting paid, none of that. And so we met at a time where I was just like so burnt out. It didn't make sense.
And it's funny because, I mean, this happens to me a lot, that practice owners will reach out and they'll be like, okay, I need to know how to run my business better. And then when we sit in the first session, my question often is, but do you want to be doing this? And it's not because I shifted out of it and I think everybody should shift out of it. I just think I'm resonating with that energy of like, I can feel there's a part that doesn't want to do it. And I want to invite that part forward for enough folks so that they can really be solid in deciding, I want to do this or I don't.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what I learned with you was that I am a country club leader. Okay. Which means that I'm supposed to be basically sitting back, collecting the checks. Everybody's doing their own work. I'm doing my own work. That's what my idea of what, you know what I mean? It's I'm here, I'm available. I want to provide training. I just really want to do liberation work. And so that does not mix with W-2 employee. That's still a part of that system. And so it doesn't matter if you're trying to do liberation work without white supremacy in it. White supremacy is in the room. Like Dr. Jennifer Mullen, she says, white supremacy is in the room, even when white people are not in the room. It's just in the room. And so it's really hard to do it the way I was doing it. And so I think what I learned, working with you was that I'm supposed to be in leadership doing this work, just not in this kind of way.
Right. Exactly. And from what I've seen, I don't know, social media may be lying. It may just look so perfect on social media, but the shift, the energetic shift that I feel from then until now on social media feels profound. It was
Really?
almost like, yeah, I mean, I felt like you were closed in some way, and I'm guessing part of that was protection.
Yeah.
And now I see you shining and radiating from your heart center, which is so
Yeah.
fucking
That
cool.
makes me like tear up.
Oh.
Whew.
Well, what does that bring up for you?
Just over giving out too much.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah.
This eclipse.
I know, right?
Yeah, it just made me when you said that, it just
Do
made
I
me think about like, yeah, I did blossom into I think like it shifted me more into like, oh, I just want to like come from a Black woman medicine perspective. I don't care who doesn't, but if you work here, that's what this lens is going to be. Like it just really like I'm not going to do the people pleasing. I think you telling me to do Al-Anon because being raised with an alcoholic father, it's like how that stuff still shows up in your business. And it's like, I do feel like I've grown so much. So I appreciate you
Oh,
saying that. So it
that's
made me
so
cry.
amazing. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like what my role is as a consultant is to see you clearly, try to see what's happening in the business clearly, and then just reflect back honestly what I see. I mean, it feels a lot like therapy to me
Yeah,
in that sort of mirroring experience.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And then I'm continuing that work with my therapist, healer person, and so I'm still doing the work around that, still learning.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I guess a question that would be helpful for listeners, because a lot of people will come to me, and these are usually white women. So I'll make that differentiation.
Uh-huh.
White women will come to me, and I might see that there's a little glimmer of like, get me out of here, like I saw with you.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
find some people struggle to allow themselves to step into that as a truth for them. So
Mm.
I'm
Mhm.
curious, what helped you really allow yourself to let go of the practice as you had initially created it?
When I talked to my accountant, to be honest,
Really?
the numbers don't lie. If you sit down and you look at the numbers and really see what's happening, and it wasn't like I had to like not do the group practice. She suggested like, okay, you could just you could have contractors. And honestly, with what I'm trying to do around the liberation work I'm doing, I think it's like too much of a framework. Like you can't make people, you can't have a W-2 employee, but I'm like that the taxes on that is crazy. And so it's like, you know what? I want people who just want to do this with me to join me, and I will support you and I will help you not make the same mistakes I did for a fee, And that's how you
Yeah.
materially that's a Black woman medicine space. That's how you materially like actually help Black women. It's like the money. Like we cannot be not getting paid.
Yeah.
So I had to that's what made me shift to that was the money, to be honest, because it's like this is not making sense, and how it impacted my kids and my family and the money from my husband investing in it. It's like, oof,
Yeah.
people don't know.
Well, and it's interesting, like, I'm thinking about this all from the liberation lens, and I have a friend, Sarah Bursky Hamrick, who I had on Conversations with a Wounded
Mm,
Healer. I've been watching her posts online because she's
mhm,
very, very firmly anti-capitalist, like very firmly anti-capitalist.
mhm,
And she says that anytime somebody is working for someone else, that's exploitation.
mhm,
And the way that
mhm.
I think about it is not necessarily like literally, like, I don't think I was exploiting people literally. And yet, the energy of being an employee, there's a like the power differential is so much greater so that employees are kind of naturally disempowered. And it's
Exactly,
not my
exactly.
fault as a practice owner that that was set
Yes,
up that way,
but it's there,
but it's there, right?
it's
And
there.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, all of the practice owners that I've ever talked to.
And you have to know that.
Yes. And all of the practice owners I have worked with, like, try to own that, try to empower their staff and all that sort of thing. But I'm thinking about the difference, because one of the things that you and I had worked on was when you were still thinking of having employees, it was the, what do you call it? The words are escaping me right now. The eclipse just took them away.
It's all right.
The job posting.
Oh yeah.
Right? The job posting. And one of the things we talked about, because I had said to you, like, ooh, the language of this doesn't quite feel right to me. And you said, how does it feel to say that to a Black woman? And then what we did was sort of unpack and get clear on what it is that you wanted.
Right.
And what you wanted, I think you're right. I don't think it was available in that W-2 model.
It didn't fit.
Because that's not what's showing up right now when you think about a W-2 versus a 1099.
Yeah, it is exploitation. I mean, that is very much what it is. And so I kind of like really want to, specifically Black women therapists, help them with being able to have more of a presence in the mental health field, because there's so much value in the kind of medicine that we offer. And it's just like, it wasn't taught. We didn't learn it in school. And so it's like, and that's why I like working with, I truly enjoy like the teaching aspect of it, you know? So that's what I really like about the group practice. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like, I just had to find a way to shift it into where like it works for me, where first of all, I should be getting paid because that's self-care. You know what I mean? Like my body is so like depressed. It's like not even like me that's depressed. It's like once we started working together, I realized, I mean, I've already known this, but it was like, you know, like when you really bring consciousness to like, I'm exploiting my damn self. Like this makes no sense. Like, and I don't want to exploit anybody. And that's why I didn't want to do the W-2 model, because I'm like, this doesn't feel right to me. So now I have 2 virtual assistants, one that's in the front, and then one that helps me with some of my like consulting, coaching part of my business. And my husband, he helps me train Tony Chavira. He's at Mindful Wonderland. He helps me train interns that we have. And so they're getting, I think like when people are getting an exchange, they're wanting like, it's the exchange. You know what I mean? And so like what I'm trying to create is like a space where there's an exchange. It's like, I'm going to give you like all of this training and all of this stuff, but like I also have to like put myself first. And that's kind of like what you taught me. And what I learned through our sessions was like, you are not putting yourself first. And you know what? You haven't been putting yourself first since you were 8 years old. I mean, that's my own stuff okay, I had a flashback, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But I feel so good now. Like I feel so good, but still depressed.
Well, is it depressed by like the system? Is that what it feels like?
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like a acknowledgement of like, I am so grateful that my body can feel. So some of the work with Resma Medicum and the somatic abolition kind of helped me get really to this point of like, you know, doing those Bimbasis really helped me learn that like, whoa, like white supremacy has whipped my ass. Like I am so exhausted. Me and all the other, you know, Black women that I work with, you know, the people I work with and the people I serve, just tired. And I know it's just when you know it's like more than one person, that's when you know it's a system type of thing. It's not just you. And so just worn down. But now I'm like really learning the importance of like trying to get my schedule right in a way that works for me and canceling things. And just when I let everybody go from the practice, it was like a weight, like just like, oh man, I don't got to do no damn payroll, no W-2, no liability. I don't give a damn, but still supporting, you know, the people that I work with, you know. So one of the people that I work with, you know, is a part of the Purple Couch Therapy Collective, because I think like you said, with that job post, it resonated with, that is what liberation looks like. I think Black women, we're just not going to do this work with smiles on our faces. And so like, this is what it's going to sound like. And so I think when people come there, they like the fact that like, oh, this is what also liberation work is, through our rage, you know, and that's an alignment. that for people that get that,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
and most Black women
Right,
do,
right.
you know, that work
Yeah.
there.
Well, and
Yeah.
I'm also thinking too of like a lot of people who end up as practice owners get there because they love supervision, they love mentorship, and
Right.
because it's been harder to hire clinicians that, are seasoned and whatnot, it sort of shifted into, and I think Texas is the same, right? Where people with the provisional license
Mm.
can't practice independently. Is that the same as Illinois?
You know what? There's some weird stuff going on in
Oh,
Texas.
really?
I've seen LMSWs as contractors, which I thought you had to be fully licensed to be an independent contractor, you know?
You might still have to
But
be. It doesn't mean that everybody's doing the right thing.
look,
Yeah.
I've seen people do some stuff. And so I just tell people to go to
Yeah.
their attorney, you know, because we did find out in Texas LPC associates can have their own practice. My
Oh,
intern found that out. When she
interesting.
gets ready to graduate, she's going to have her own
Okay.
practice.
But
Yeah.
social workers can't.
Yeah. And so I
Mhm.
think like that's the stuff. Right. But that's the stuff I like to like help teach with graduate students. It's like, why do we have to learn about this business stuff? Like, what's this about that these professors don't want to let up on this, like how we do private practice and what other ways we can provide access to healing? You know, what is this about?
Mhm.
You know, why do we have to wait until we're like fully licensed 10 years? Like, why? You
Mm.
know?
And I'll just say that not everybody is ready right when they graduate.
No.
Because I've seen some people go through school and yeah, like you've had the life experience, you've got like whatever other training that you've done,
Hmm.
and private practice is a good fit. And then I've seen some people who just need more time on the water.
Yeah.
I recently interviewed one of my former
Hmm.
employees, and she recognized, because I hired her straight out of grad school, and she's like, I wasn't ready, but I didn't know I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And that's when I think about how clients are impacted by that, I
Yeah.
think
Scary.
that's something that we have
Yeah.
to remember as therapists, that it is a privilege to do this work. It's not a
Right.
right just because we go through
Right.
grad school.
Yeah. And I think like you're developing this like capacity to like
Yes.
hold space. It's not
Yes.
really about like the modalities and blah, blah, blah. It's the capacity you're building to be able to hold space. And that takes years sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just like right after you graduate. But depending on if maybe you've been doing your
Yep.
work, like maybe you've been like in therapy for a long time doing the work, it still just takes that capacity to like build a muscle to do what we do.
Mhm.
We do some
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. So now it sounds like you're in the position where you're bringing on mentees as contractors, basically, and you're helping them build their own practice. Is that how things are working?
No, so Purple Couch
Mhm.
Therapy Collective is kind of like the consulting part of Purple Couch Therapy. And so it's the side where like I'm actually working, like right now I have a coaching client actually who is in LA and
Mm.
opening up like a practice for plant medicine and psychedelic medicine and prepping people for that, you know, before they go on those journeys in a therapeutic way. And so I'm helping her kind of get her coaching business off. In this I'm in this like realm of like kind of helping people look at these unconscious blockages to like our businesses and how it can align better for them. And so that's that part. And then for Purple Couch, I'm still doing my own therapy sessions like as a trauma therapist, EMDR therapist. I see about 15 clients a week myself. And then I have two graduate interns who work under me that I have a contract through the university. And then we provide them with like a decolonized intersectional lens, learning how to be a therapist from that lens. And so we get like a lot of people who want to apply, you know, and so
Great.
that's what we do. And then we have a grant that we have through this nonprofit, and then we see youth. So the interns see the youth there. And so that's kind of how we're working it right now.
Amazing. So, I mean, you really have turned this all on its head, right? Because most people take interns and you lose money on interns, but you got a contract with a school and you
Yeah.
got a grant, so you could get paid to have interns. It's brilliant.
I know. I know. And they get, you know, they get a lot. Like
Mhm.
they're getting all this like stuff that I've like taken from all the people that I'm learning from right
Yeah.
now, that where they don't have time or the opportunity or funds to get that kind of training, you know. So I enjoy it. I'm actually doing what I love.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say earlier is that a lot of practice owners start because they love mentorship and supervision, but mentorship and
Hmm.
supervision is very different than management.
Okay. Yeah. Because I am not a manager.
Yeah.
I am not a manager, honey.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what's brilliant about the work that you did with me and you, on your own, of course, too, but to really be like, yeah, this is not my bag.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like between like you saying that and the money, it like collided because you know I had worked with Aggie
Right.
too,
My consultant. Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know, and so that was disappointing. Not that they were disappointing, but it was like just seeing it, the numbers, and you know they're like, just make this much more, just make 5,000 more, and I'm like, I'm over here struggling to like get the therapist to where they're supposed to be in their caseload that they agree to, and everybody's burnt out. I'm like, look, y'all, I don't got nothing to do with this system, okay, but I don't want to be a part of it anymore. You
Right.
know,
Right.
too much.
Yeah, it's interesting too, I think, when you specifically have staff who are people of color. And I talked about this with Shauna Murray Brown,
Mm.
who was
Mm-hmm.
also on the podcast before, and her decolonizing therapy for Black folks. Like,
Mm.
because she was sort of helping those of us who are practice owners kind of
Mm.
talk
Mm-hmm.
through like where we were and what was happening for us. And she's like, well, why do you have to have requirements? And we're like, because the government won't allow us to provide health insurance unless they're meeting these metrics. And that's not a thing that's like
Right.
negotiable for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to like defraud
Exactly.
whatever,
Exactly.
systems like, and because that's the way that the system is set up, we can't necessarily say, okay, you can't see 20 clients, so just, go take a rest. Like, we can't do that. And yet, what I hear you saying and what I've witnessed with other practice owners with a lot of POC staff is like the burnout is real, the extra burden, like, because everyone's fucking burnt out right now.
Right. And I just felt like I was doing the same thing that
Right.
I was feeling when I was working for places. And I'm like, this is not what I started Purple Couch for.
Right.
I really wanted to be a medicine space, and to be, I know things are not going to be all easy, but I kind of want to make it easy. I'm all about ease,
Mhm.
you know, however I can make it. If it's hard, I don't want to do it. I'm so tired. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
I just so tired,
Right. Right.
which is, yeah.
And not everybody can figure out that pivot.
Hmm.
So part of it is your genius and your like
Hmm.
tenacity.
Thank you,
And
Sarah.
I'm sure part of it was luck too. So let's also put it out there that like you're kind of a magical person that like gets what they want.
Aw, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So it's beautiful to see. And
That's such a compliment to call me magical. I'm like, ooh,
I
yes.
mean, that
Yes.
seems pretty
Thank you.
obvious to me. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
And I think, because I'm sure that a lot of listeners are like, ooh, I want to pivot my practice. I want to do all these things. And your way is not necessarily everybody else's way.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I think the key though is like really looking at numbers. I think like you can have $1 million revenue coming in,
Right.
but that don't mean that you making $1 million. You know what I mean? I think it wasn't like I didn't have the revenue coming in, and I just needed like a short amount to get it to where it needed to be. But it seemed like at that time that it was like, that was just the dynamics that were created in the practice. It was like so many lessons learned. It's insane. So many lessons. It really taught me like who I'm good at working with.
Yes.
Like, I hate that I had to pay this. Basically, it's cheaper to hire somebody to learn this stuff. You can learn it by hiring somebody like Sarah, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Someone that can like help walk you through this, because you're going to pay for this anyways. So like you could pay for it big, or you can pay for it just somebody to help you through some of these things I could have, probably learned earlier on if I would have like kept a coach. I did get a business coach, but it was like in a group,
Yeah.
but I like the
Mhm.
one-on-one with you. And I know that you make more money by doing groups, but it's like something about that one-on-one, like working one-on-one with my business coaching client right now.
Yeah.
I could see
Right.
the
Because you get
difference.
that personalized support. Well, and I mean, I think we talked about this when you and I started, that I'm finding that people don't want to hear the truth. It's only once they start hitting the wall, like 4 to 5
Like
years
me.
in. And that's exactly where you were, right? Because if I would have come into your life magically when you were starting this thing, would you have listened to a damn thing I had to say?
Probably not, because I've had I remember working at a group practice and the woman specifically saying, like, you don't really make the money doing a group practice. She's like, it's in this, it's in that. She was telling me that. And I was like, no, I want to, because my undergrad actually is in healthcare administration. So I really do like the business side of things. I like marketing. I like the fact that you could pivot. I mean, I really enjoy being a creator, an entrepreneur, that I've always have. And so I just didn't know that I could do it in a way that aligns with me. It's like, oh, I have permission. Oh yeah, you do. You don't have to, and you'll make more money.
And you'll feel better.
Right. Yeah. And you'll feel better. Why do you want to do this to yourself? But I know why. I have the answers, of why. And I'm going to start reading the Red Book, the ACA. It's like for adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've opened it yesterday.
Yeah. There's some Al-Anon books like that where I'm like, I see you over there. I'm looking at you. I'm not doing anything with you, but I'm looking at you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been life-changing. It's been life-changing. And then, I had people that I shouldn't have working for me, family members, and that dynamic. Life has been life-changing. Boundaries are real.
Yeah.
Therapists suck at them.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes.
Yeah, often. That's what I see.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to protecting ourselves in ways that we need to. But I've gotten so much better.
Good. It's so good to see you like shining in this way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
Of course. And thank you for telling people to hire me. It's exactly what I hired you for this podcast, right?
Oh, yes. So I already plugged you in. Right. Yes.
Well, other than hiring me, like if you had advice to your younger self before starting this practice, anybody else out there who might be thinking, no, I can do it differently. It's going to be different. What advice do you have for that person?
I would say really get clear on who you're here to serve, which is yourself. Not like only you, but like that's the only way you're going to be able to have this big dream or big vision that you want to create. And get an accountant right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Just get an accountant.
Yep.
I'm trying to tell you, get an accountant. And it's really cool if you've gone to therapy to learn those parts of you, because they'll still show up in your business, to keep an eye on it. Yeah. I feel like that's the main thing.
Awesome.
Be you, do you.
Yeah.
Be unapologetic about it.
And where can people find you being unapologetic in the world?
On Instagram, it's at Purple Couch Therapy. And also, I just started a YouTube channel. There's one video posted. I'm actually going to start making more videos around what it's like being a CEO, like a Black therapist practice owner, and being in leadership, being a Black woman, and how difficult that is. And more about like the business side, you know what I mean? To start offering more of those kind of services for people. I really enjoy it. I really like it. I think that's what I learned about working with you. It's like, ooh, I like how this feels, having somebody to guide me, through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. It's so great to see you doing so well.
Yes.
And it's just lovely to connect as always.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This was nice. I like this.
Anytime. You're welcome back anytime.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to this special Burnt Out Practice Owner series. If you want more information about today's guest, go to our website at www.headheartbiztherapy.com/podcast. Thanks to the Creative Imposter Studios for editing, and I'm your host, Sarah Bueno. Until next time, bye-bye.